Calgary Police Service has charged one man in relation to the trafficking of marijuana seeds at a rally last night. At approximately 8:30 p.m. Wednesday, April 6, 2016, police attended a rally taking place at a hotel in the 3800 block of McLeod Trail. Despite a high-profile presence of uniformed police officers, a rally organizer began distributing marijuana seeds to members of the audience. As the seeds ran out, a man went to a van to retrieve more stock, at which time he was arrested and taken into custody. As the man was being arrested, the audience left the hotel, led by the event organizer, to observe the arrest. The Calgary Police Service inspector spoke to the organizer of the event, who chose to then distribute more seeds and packages. The event organizer was subsequently arrested and taken into custody without further incident. The man who was initially arrested while retrieving items for the van was later released without charges. A search of the van belonging to the event organizer resulted in the seizure of 119 grams, approximately $1,190, 1,097 grams of marijuana seeds worth approximately $30,000, and a small amount of cannabis resin oil. Dana Larson, 44, of Vancouver, BC, has been charged with 1 count of trafficking marijuana and 1 count of possession for the purpose of trafficking. He was released from custody and is expected to appear in court on May 18, 2016. Under the Controlled Drugs and Substances Act, it is illegal to traffic marijuana in any form, regardless of whether payment is provided. That's all I have for any questions.
Why was the first person that was arrested released?
The first person that was arrested was basically determined to be just a runner related to getting additional seeds, and the police used discretion in that matter, and this person was subsequently released.
And the thing, his van was seized as well?
There was the van was seized as well.
So what happens to that now?
The van is seized, and it goes through the usual process with relation to exhibits, and it can then be released back to whoever the rightful owner of the van is. It just depends on the process.
Mr. Larson has indicated that he was told by police that he would face the mandatory minimum 6 months or something like that. Would police tell him that kind of information while he was in custody?
I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of a statement of
what is
that being.
What is the sentence for this type of a charge?
I wouldn't really know. It would depend on, that would be completely up to the courts and the prosecution office to run that through the usual process to determine what would be appropriate.
There were uniformed officers in the crowd last night.
Yes, there were, yeah.
If you knew what this guy was all about, why didn't you shut down the rally rather than wait for something like that to happen with a charge?
Right. The officers, when they first attended, everybody has the right to have a peaceful demonstration and a conversation. And so we allowed that process to take place. And then as that process took place, we recognized that the seeds that were being trafficked, essentially, it was articulated that they were in fact marijuana seeds. And then as that became more and more information came to light, then officers took the actions they did.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding, things like pipes and bongs fall under that same category of being illegal to sell, according to, this is what Larson has said to me. So why is there no crackdown on those kinds of sales, and there is a crackdown in this case?
So that information is not accurate from my understanding. The information that I have around this is that it has to be a controlled substance, and in this case that is the controlled substance was marijuana. And there is a distinct distinction between simple possession of something like that and actually trafficking it as well.
Just for a timeline's sake, he wasn't arrested until he went to his van to restock seeds?
No.
That's just sort of how it looks like it played out in the press release.
Yeah, no, so that, just to clarify, there was another individual that had gone to the van, and so that individual was arrested during that process initially and was subsequently released later. The arrest of Mr. Larson occurred afterward, after a Calgary Police Service inspector spoke to him, and then he continued to traffic the marijuana seeds to members of the event.
Can you tell me why he wasn't charged and arrested right in the room while he was doing it?
I believe that the officers, the information I have, the officers actually, the trafficking of the seeds was done afterward while he was in the presence of the officers outside after the event.
But you said
There
there
were-
were officers in the room, and you say that he was distributing them in the room.
Not that he was distributing them in the room. There was distributing of seeds occurring, but the distributing that Mr. Larson was arrested for was subsequent to the event.
So why weren't people in the room charged and arrested?
Well, the information that I have is that that they were seeds were being, or there was seeds being distributed, but we weren't sure at that time. They weren't actually fully aware of what was being distributed at that point in time.
But you knew why you were there.
We knew
because-
why we were there. Yeah.
Because he was
Yeah.
going to distribute seeds.
Yeah. He made a statement to the police, and I can't get into the evidence that we have at this time. I'll allow the courts to run that through. But essentially, with the statement that was made to police and all the information that they had, that was the time that they made the arrest during the event.
Why would you feel the need to have a strong police presence?
The officers originally, we attend all events. Like, there's many different types of events we attend to keep the peace. And originally there was approximately 5 police officers that were there for the number of people that were there to allow that to transpire peacefully. And as the event unfolded, it became a little bit more excited, I guess you would say that way, and then additional officers came to just support that and ensure that the peace was kept during the arrest process and to allow the event to be concluded.
Can you confirm whether or not he tried to give police seats?
I can't confirm that he tried to give the police seats.
Do you know how many seats were being given out last night? Or any idea?
I don't. No, I'm sorry, I don't
You guys-
have.
I mean, the whole point of this Overgrow tour is to get people to plant on private property, public property.
Right.
Do you worry that seeds that were passed out, people are gonna plant, in city planters or parks or?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that is their intent, but our intent in this situation was around the trafficking of the seeds. The simple possession and so forth. Obviously, there's many discussions going on federally about that as well. But as to my understanding, there's no discussion at this point around trafficking. Trafficking of any controlled substance is illegal, and hence the reason why Mr. Larson was arrested.
Was this a peaceful event for the most part? Was there any violence or any
Yeah.
disruption?
I don't think there was any violence that I'm aware of. I know that there was obviously some discussion and some protest around the fact that the officers made the arrest, but I would say generally it was a peaceful event.
Yeah, just to pick up on that, Inspector, I mean, when the news first came out that he was arrested, we saw a major response of people saying this is a waste of police resources, they should be focusing on other things, why are they doing that? How would you respond to those people?
Well, I would just respond and say that, the officers are there to keep the peace and to protect the public. And, we took what we believe to be the appropriate action with a limited number of resources present initially. And as things became a little more heated, we ended up bringing additional officers there to support the event.
One last thing for me, how do you get 30,000 out of those seeds?
Yeah, the
who
exact-
determines that?
Yeah, we have some drug experts that look at what it costs to purchase seeds and so forth, and that's the going street rate for that many seeds that were seized.
Could there potentially be more charges either to Mr. Larson or anybody else at this event in the future?
I'm not totally sure. That would be up to the investigators at this point. I'd have to look into that and get back to you on that.
How many attendees and how many officers were at the scene?
I don't have the exact numbers. I think that the pictures and images that the media took are probably the best description of the number of people that were at the event. When you look at any of the media that was there, that came out prior to. So the exact number, I don't have that.
Do you know how many officers were there?
I know that there were, like I say, there was approximately 5 officers that originally arrived there, and then additional officers came afterward to support the officers that were there. But the exact number I don't have.
The Singh group is well known for mailing seeds to Canadians and people across the country. So what do you guys do now that you've charged them, but this can still continue through that organization?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we focus on the incidents here as members of the Calgary Police Service that relate to Calgary. However, at the same time, this is trafficking related to the seats, and if somebody goes and provides seats to others, that would be a criminal offense, and in every case would have to be looked at individually.
So do you plan on, partnering up with agencies across the country now that you've made this arrest? Kind of sets a precedent for other places. Do you guys think that you're going to team up with other law enforcement agencies to try and curb the mailing of these seats?
I think we would probably leave that to other law enforcement agencies, but we obviously communicate with other law enforcement agencies across the country as well. But decisions that are made locally related to law enforcement will be made by those other organizations. I wouldn't be able to speak to what decisions they may make.
I'm just wondering if you can kind of describe like a turning point during the evening that kind of made you concerned. Can you just describe what exactly happened and why you became concerned and the officers there became more concerned?
Well, I think when the officers went to make an arrest related to the original individual that was picking up additional seats to bring them back and then start distributing them, the crowd became aware of that occurring, and then a number of people came out, and it sort of it elevated the incident somewhat as people were becoming upset that was occurring, and that really required an additional response from the police just to make sure that it stayed as a peaceful event, because we want them to have a peaceful event, but if it's involved in trafficking, then that would be unacceptable.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, you can't really say you were intending to lay charges at that point, but it became clear that there was no other option.
Yeah, I would say there were no other options available to us at that point. The officers were in the presence of an individual who was openly trafficking marijuana seeds, and it's pretty clear in the criminal code that is a criminal offense, and it's not really a gray area for us when it comes to trafficking.
And what is the message that you're sending?
Well, I think from the perspective of the Calgary Police Service is that we will enforce the laws that are in place, and that's really the message, that if you break the law and you traffic controlled substances, we will enforce the law related to that.